Great seeing you back for Devos. Okay, this week we've been talking about storms. What do you do when the storm comes? There's all this past weekend. Okay, so our devotions, we're looking riches that you receive from the rain. Okay, well, one of those riches is strength through the storm. God will give you strength through the storm. You don't get strength because God answers prayer. You don't get strength because you go out in the sunshine. And let me tell you the weakest thing I ever hear. People say, well, you know, the reason why I'm depressed is because Pittsburgh is a cloudy place to live in and I need sunshine. That's really weak. Okay. You should be embarrassed. Don't tell anybody that. God will give you strength in the storm, not the sunshine. 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9. Paul says here, because Paul was asking God to take away something, and we know it was a physical affliction, but I don't want to go deep into that. But God wouldn't. He said this, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. God, listen, he goes, I'll give you my power, and I'm going to give it to you when you're weak. You see, when you're knocked down, you don't have much. You're really beat up in life. You don't have a lot of physical strength, but you just keep going and you just keep going. Okay, that is God. And it brings glory to him when he gives his strength to someone the world would say should not have it. Life doesn't get easier, just so you know, or more forgiving. We get stronger and more resilient through God. Now, we say, but Pastor, look at the world. Things are so much nicer and more easier. Okay, that's not true. It's not true. I'm going to tell you what. Let's go back 30 years ago. Let's go back 40 years ago. Let's go back when you had a rotary telephone. Let's go back. Many of you know what I'm talking about. We all had to share a party line in the neighborhood. 3 or 4 people have one phone line. Come in. You can pick it up and you hear your neighbors on the phone, right? Okay, this wasn't easy. Okay, we didn't have cell phones, so when you were trying to get something done, you had to make all your phone calls when you could get to a landline. Okay, now today, we say, oh, it's so much easier today. Well, not really. What's happened is it is expected you are going to do 10 times more work than you ever did before. You are your own secretary. I mean, you have to do everything. Yeah, life's become very confusing. It's not gotten easier. You need to become stronger, and you'll receive that through God. Isaiah 40:31. Again, just talk about a person. They're going through a trial. They're going through a storm. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. So, notice renew. It means this. God gave it to you already, but guess what? It's like, you have to eat your Wheaties. Remember eating the Wheaties? You get strength from the Wheaties. Okay, so you got to go to the gym. You got to take your vitamins. Now, we're just talking about physical things. If you want to stay strong in the Lord, you have to keep renewing and keep renewing and keep renewing. So my hope is in God. You turn to God. You have devotions. You spend time in prayer with him. Get alone with him. Ask him for strength. He'll give you strength. But you're going to have to keep coming back for more strength. And when you're in a storm, some storms are so horrible. They're so exhausting. You're crying out to God, and you're crying out to God, and you're crying out to God. When the storm is over, you will be stronger than most people around you. They'll be freaking and flipping over something kind of dumb and just kind of laughing. Go, what's that? Well, because God's given you a lot of strength. Psalms 29:11, the Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. We talked about peace yesterday. Look, he'll give you strength and peace. Okay, you have to ask for it. Usually come, but I'm telling you, the reason it comes through the storm because we're desperate and we go to him. You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. Okay, I'm telling you, that's it. You have no other choices. You're not going to get through what you're going through without God. So turn to him today.